In Indian society, which would be considered attractive? Dark skin or a light skin guy?
Definitely fair. Everybody wants a fair girl.
Obviously fair and beautiful. That's the only thing that matters if I talk about marriage.
There's a Snow White, there's a Cinderella who need not be very brave or self-dependent, but she's beautiful. So it's about the movies we see, the cartoons we see.
They try to make them look really fair, and we as a youth want to look like that because okay, this is shown as attractive, so we consider that as a standard and go by that.
How does this trend start?
It has definitely to do with globalization.
I think it started with the caste system. That comes way before globalization because the darker skin tones were considered untouchables.
When India got colonized and all, and the British people came and they were basically all white, they looked down upon us like these are colored people and they are not good. They considered themselves superior, so all others became inferior.
Let's talk about colorism in the Indian community. If you don't know, colorism is the idea that lighter or fair skin is more beautiful than dark skin. I know that this issue is not exclusive to India, and it's also prevalent in other Black, Hispanic, and South Asian communities, but I'm going to speak towards my experience as a Tamil dark-skinned girl. I say dark-skin in quotes because I know there's a lot of women who are darker than me, but my entire life I feel like I've been considered dark because my sister and my dad are just so fair. And in India, having a fair-skinned daughter was like winning the lottery. I remember all my relatives would always comment on how beautiful and light my sister was. And it's so interesting looking back at these pictures because I don't even think our skin tones were that different, but regardless, I spent my entire life wanting to be lighter. I started using Fair and Lovely when I was like 6 or 7 years old. My mom was always reminding me to stay out of the sun. And it wasn't just my mom, it was the entire community. I don't blame anyone for this. It was just a culture that they grew up in. Like in India, having dark skin is literally a liability. Dark skinned people are assumed to be poor or lower class. And a lot of families, when they're looking for a bride, their number one requirement is that the woman has fair skin. And no one had to say any of this to me. It was what I saw. Like Bollywood movies would only cast very fair skinned women to the point where a lot of their actors, like Amy Jackson, weren't even Indian. Especially in like Tamil movies where Tamil women tend to be a little bit darker, they literally will cast actresses that don't even speak the language and just dub it over. Women like Deepika Padukone and Priyanka Chopra are kind of the darkest that Bollywood will go. And even so, these dusky or dark-skinned actresses tend to get lighter and lighter as their career progresses. It's not just a lack of representation, it's how they literally show dark-skinned women as ugly and unattractive.
India is a rich country in history, culture, diversity, and there is a very deep and painful truth many still live with daily in India, and that is colorism. So from Bollywood screens to matrimonial arts, lighter skin is usually idolized, while the darker tones are usually shamed. But where did this kind of obsession come from, and why does it thrive even in the modern day India? So stay tuned as we unpack the roots, the reality, and resistance against India's colorism problem, and the truth often that is usually ignored.
These are beautiful black-skinned Indians. But why doesn't Bollywood cast black people in their movies? Bollywood does not even cast dark-skinned Indians in most of its movies. Sadly, not surprising, Africans don't appear in Bollywood movies, when Bollywood doesn't even represent the reality of India, which is a country filled with millions of dark-skinned people. Does this mean that Bollywood is racist?
I have this product with me. How big is this in India?
It is so big because every Indian girl is taught be fair, otherwise you won't get married.
Yeah, it is very famous. It's a famous skin whitening cream. My grandmother used it.
I would like you to, try this on your hand or something, and let's see if it has any effect.
See, not so lovely hand. And then you can see a lovely hand.
This is just too unnatural.
It's literally bleaching.
Yeah,
it is literally bleaching.
How do you feel after applying this?
It's like covering my original skin.
Do you feel good? Better?
No.
This is so not natural. I mean, I don't want my hand to look like this. It's so fake.
I'll not apply it on my face. I mean, nobody wants to look like a ghost. I think relatives, they say a lot, "Arey yaar, iska to color down hai, iski shaadi kaise hogi." So those things affect you subconsciously when you're like little. So I think that is something which should not be done. I really don't want like my daughter to go through any of that.
Was there a point of time in your life when you thought that I need to bleach my skin or whiten my skin?
Yeah, I thought many times.
No, Indians were not supposed to be fairer. India receives more than 250 sunny days. So vitamin D is directly absorbed by skin, hence more melanin content, hence the darker skin.
There was time when I was a teenage girl, I could see people who, like girls who were fairer than me, you know, they were treated in a different way. You could see the school teachers or everyone as like, oh, she's so cute, she's so pretty. So that time we feel, okay, I want to be that person.
I've been bullied for my skin tone, and that too by my teachers. One of my teacher bullied me. I mean, I was in like class 3rd or 4th. I was just a child. I don't know that I have a dark tone and all.
My friends who are like a little darker than me, they sometimes feel that, you know, still that I should put tomato on my skin and this on my skin to become fair. So their self-confidence has been really affected.
Now, to be specific, I am South Indian from Hyderabad. My family has been there since forever, and I lived there for a little bit when I was a kid as well. Obviously, I'm going to preface this by stating the obvious. I am lighter skinned compared to other South Indian people. There are people in my family that are a lot darker than me, but there are people in my family that are lighter than me. So, just putting that out there. For the most part, while I haven't received derogatory comments about my skin color being too dark, I have received very thinly veiled compliments that are pretty much extremely racist remarks about other South Indian people and how I'm too pretty to be South Indian because my skin is too light. Oh, you're South Indian. I would have never guessed. But your skin is so light though. Oh, South India. Madras. You can't really make it up. But coming on here to say that there is a lot of racism that happens within our own collective communities, and for people to be so uneducated about their own countries and where they come from, like, okay, geography may not be your strong suit, but to lump an entire section or region of a country as being just Madras, or I don't know, like pigeonholing us into this one very racist archetype of people who just eat idli and sambar all day and do nothing but watch Rajnikant movies, like, there's more to the South Indian identity than just that. I love being South Indian, I love being Hyderabadi, and I love knowing how India's history is so rich and culturally diverse and beautiful in so many different ways, but it also makes me sad to know that people don't view it as that for a lot of different reasons, colonialism, racism, and white supremacy being a good chunk of those reasons.
It's not just South Asian representation, it's specifically South Indian representation.
Yeah. And it's such a pleasure, and for both of us also to be dark-skinned, knowing how hard it is for dark-skinned women in India, even in the diaspora of Indian communities in the West. It's incredibly difficult even to this day. And what I love about the show is that the fact that we're dark-skinned, it's not mentioned.
Colorism in India isn't just a beauty preference. It's a form of internalized discrimination that cuts across class and even gender. And while many blame colorism for planting these ideas, the truth is really running deep, because ancient texts and regional traditions already showed preference for lighter skin tones, and even associating them with purity, with power, and even others' divinity. But when the British colonized India, they reinforced the idea that fair skin equals superiority. So fast forward to today, matrimonial ads still list fairness skinned bride as most preferred, and Bollywood actors are often lightened on posters, and even fairness creams ad dominate television. Some even imply that success, marriage, and confidence only come to the fair. And this kind of messaging is really damaging a lot of people, because dark-skinned, yes, Indians, especially women, are constantly shamed, told to lighten their skin, and excluded from media, and others even are excluded from leadership roles. So it's not just about beauty, it's about power, access, and even worth. And but we can see that things are really changing right now, because movements like Dark is Beautiful and bold voices on social media are calling out the hypocrisy, and celebrities are being questioned for endorsing fairness products. So young Indians are reclaiming their skin and pushing for representation that reflects real diversity. So, but the change we can see is a little bit slow, because the system profit off this kind of insecurity. But the question that we have currently is, will India finally confront its deeply rooted colorism, or will generations continue to bleach away their worth just to be accepted? Because no matter how ancient the bias, dignity should never be skin deep.